Ryan here, also known as Psych Sensei. He's a clinical esports psychologist, and you can see his beautiful setup in the background. Honestly, it puts mine to shame. I'm just in like a super sucky room. Anyway, Ryan, he's worked with professional esports teams like 100 Thieves and League of Legends, and he's also worked with OG Esports in CS:GO and CS2. He's worked with a whole lot of collegiate and amateur esports players and teams across multiple genres and titles. I'm pretty sure you've worked with almost every single major genre of video game.
Yeah, bro.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, and he's a trained clinical psychologist, and because he has that professional background, he's always utilizing his knowledge of the brain to try and hack your in-game performance. And by working with esports athletes, coaches, and teams at every level of competition, uh, Ryan Psych Sensei knows that mental performance comes from mental preparation. Building your mental game doesn't always have to be a tilter. I love how you say that. And he hopes to help you build your skills one game at a time. And I just want to add on my side here that I love this talk that you're set up to give on goal setting, just because it's so appropriately timed with the start of the year. Everyone's trying to, um, you know, make their New Year's resolutions, make all their goals, and try to make 2026 their year, right? So I think this is genuinely probably going to be like one of the most valuable talks that we're doing this month. Not to myself down or anything,
Oh,
but
oh, pressure.
yeah, I don't know. I'm actually like really excited for this just for myself too because I got some big goals for 2026. So anyway, with that, yeah, no, I'm genuinely excited. Everyone who's listening, Ryan is legitimately the goat, and I've worked with him for a long time, so everything he says is absolutely phenomenal, and you should give it a listen.
Damn. Thanks, Casey, for that strong introduction. Now I have this huge presentation to put on, but thank you. I'm gonna do my best. What's good, gamers? My name is Dr. Ryan Terao, Psych Sensei. I'm super stoked to be here to give this talk. Thank you so much for Casey and Julian to give me this platform to speak with all of you. And the cool thing, because it's a small group, is I would like to have this kind of like an AMA. If there's things that you guys want to talk about with goal setting or this and that, or things that you want to know specifically about your goal setting or what's going wrong, put down in the chat, or hopefully we have some time at the end where I can pull some people up to workshop some of these goals. Um, I'm that was don't worry, I have a PowerPoint that you guys can't see, but I'm going to talk from it. So, thanks, Casey. As Casey said, I have worked with lots of different organizations from professional level, for like 100 Thieves and OG Esports. I've also worked with collegiate teams, for example, Arizona State University, the University of Southern California, UCSD, to name a few, UCLA. And I also worked with a handful of amateur teams. I can't even count them all. For example, Supernova, the Conviction, and some other ones. But I've been in the scene since 2019, so I've seen a lot of things, been a lot of places, and hopefully I can share some of this knowledge with all of you. So for today, my goals are to define a SMART goal, and after that, make the SMART goal even smarter, and then demonstrate how you can set in-game goals for yourself in this new year. And we talk about why goals go wrong, how you can prevent that from happening to you, and how to make better goals to make sure you can climb in whatever you want to. So, before I continue, I put in the chat, along with my selfless, shameless plugs, I put into the chat a sketch.io, right? Before we start, I want to take a little bit of time and I want you to click that link, okay? And I want you to imagine. I want you to draw. Okay. I don't want any words. I don't want any numbers. I just want a picture. Okay. What is your goal? How would your life be different if you actually achieved your goal? And where would you achieving your goal take you? Okay. I just want you to take some time. I'll give you a couple minutes and just draw it. It doesn't have to be pretty. In fact, it's better if it's not, but it just needs to make sense for you. Okay. So take a couple of minutes and draw it. Draw your goal. How would your life be different if you achieved your goal? Or where would achieving your goal take you? Yes, even better. I know that all of you probably don't have a stencil and it's probably going to be MS Paint style, and that's what's best, in my opinion. So use colors if you want. Just draw it. Okay? There's gonna be no judgment. Just dream with me for a little bit. Or let me dream with you. So I'll give you a couple more minutes. If you're brave, what I would like you to do is if you're brave, if you want to post it in the chat so we can see your picture, or if you just want to write that down in the chat, if you're going to write it down in the chat, the thing that I'm really interested in is where would achieving your goal take you in your life? Where would it take you? All right. Let me exit out and come back out. Oh, we got it, baby. We got it. Okay. We got it. All right. So let me share the screen. Yes, that one. Beautiful. Oh wait, I have to do this and then turn the thing on. Ayo, let's go. You see that now? Can you see me? Hey, it's little things in life, I tell you. Boom. Okay. And now ooh, a smiley face. Okay. Ooh, I like the beach, I think. Or they're gonna get overrun by a tsunami. But I think it's the beach and them chilling on the beach. I like that. Sick random. I love your smiley face, Casey. I love it. I'm working while listening, so can't draw, but I just want to feel a sense of accomplishment. I like it. Ooh, I like this one. Consistency goes peak. Performance. Okay. I like it. I like it. Okay. Ooh, I like this one. I think that person's got a six pack and they're juggling. This is awesome. I believe that's a championship MVP. I love this. A sexy car. Hell yeah, brother. Hell yeah. Look at that spoiler on that thing. Hell yeah. No worries. If you can't draw, you can do it later. All right. The reason why I wanted you guys to draw this is there's something really cool. There's a nice little connection between your hand and your brain that's different than typing, you know? So if you want to read some studies, if you're studying for something, it actually helps you remember things better if you write it down versus typing. And also the reason why I wanted you to draw your goal for something that means something to you is I want you to remember in the doldrums or when you're upset or tired or frustrated, you're going to have this picture to look at to remember why you're doing the thing, to reconnect you with the purpose. Because something I really want to emphasize today is that your goal is not a destination, it's just a milestone to get you there, right? Like once you hit the goal, there's always going to be a next one. Once you win your game, you're going to want to win one more. Once you win a championship, you want to win, you want to create a dynasty, not just one, right? So again, the whole point of goals is to get us closer to our destination. It is not the destination itself. Okay? All right. Here's the funny thing about goals too. Winners and losers, they have the same goal, but what makes them different? Have you ever thought of that? They both have the same goal of winning, but they always don't win or whatever, right? Someone has to win, someone has to lose. So is it goals? That's actually the thing? No, in my opinion, in my perspective, it's about the process of reaching your goal that's more important than the actual achieving the goal that's important. Okay? So, on your journey, there's going to be a lot of people that ask you, what are you doing? They're going to look at the things that you're objectively doing. They're going to look at your training, they're going to look at your performance, they'll be looking at the what. Okay? Less people are going to ask you, how did you do it? Or even when you look at a game, how often do you look at or think about how were they able to play that play? How were they able to accomplish that thing? How were they able to know that people were there? How were they able to get off that shot? But instead they're like, wow, what was that? That was crazy, right? But even more rare is people ask you, why did you do it that way? How come you thought that way? Why did you approach this thing this way? But as you continue to think about your goals and what you're doing, I want you to think it in reverse order. It's going to be important to think about the why, then the how, then the what. Okay. All right. Everyone's heard about SMART goals, right? Who's in the chat? Give me an S for SMART goals. They talk about these all the time in school. They talk about these all the time on TikTok. I see one S. Nursing. That's an S in there. Like, you hear these all the time. Okay, now for the people that actually has heard them, who's actually applied them to their fullest? Who's actually written it out with all their parts? Okay, so first it's S, it's specific, right? It's something very specific that you want to accomplish. It's not like I want to win games. Okay, how many games do you want to win and how much time, right? It's M, it's measurable. There are certain criteria that you can measure or see your progress. It's attainable at your current level. Like it's within your abilities. It's not like I want to be uh pro tomorrow, right? Okay, that's not really attainable right now. You want to make sure it's like, okay, I want to rank up one level or I want to get a positive KDA right now, right? Then it's are relevant. Is it deep enough? Is it launch or connect to your values or other goals or deeper sense of being? So you have that persistence. And then time based. Is there a specific time that you want to accomplish it in a week, 2 weeks, a month, a season, a year, right? Like what I love about this format is it's nice. It's very, very nice, right? It tells you all the pieces of what a goal could be, and it would look like something like this, right? I thought you guys played like a lot of FPS games, so I put this in like Counter Strike 2 like language, right? So a Counter Strike using all these pieces of a SMART goal. Dang, look at that picture, right? All the pieces look something like this. Over the next 4 weeks, I will increase my CS2 competitive rank by 1 tier by playing at least 5 ranked matches per week, maintaining a minimum of 1.1 KDA, and completing 20 minutes of an aim training before each session. Beautiful goal. Beautiful goal, right? This is an amazing goal if you want to rank up in Counter Strike. Here's a problem. How many people actually set this thing up like this? How many people have actually used a SMART goal for their games? I think even like looking at this goal, it's kind of big and daunting and scary for most people. And I probably lost you by the second line. Or I probably lose gamers probably by the second line. This is great, in my opinion, to set general goals, but it's a little more challenging sometimes when you do it for gaming. Yeah, nah, nah, as log and do this and throw word. Two details for a goal for gamer. I agree. So what I thought, for example, here's another aim focused one, right? For the next 30 days, I will spend 15 minutes daily on aim training, voltaic drills plus death matches, and raise my average headshot percentage in ranked matches from 35% to 40%. Another one for you for game sense. In the next 3 weeks, I will learn and consistently use at least 2 smoke lineups per map for my main competitive map pool and review 1 demo per week to reduce unnecessary deaths by 10%. Amazing goal. This is amazing goals. They rarely get done. So, in my perspective, this is what kind of makes SMART goals kind of dumb. They can be too specific on the thing that it doesn't allow too much flexibility, and because of that, when you don't achieve it, ugh, it feels bad, right? It may not fit all the context of your game, especially if you're playing a team-based game where even though you're trying to control everything in your game, you might have someone like me that runs it down. Or you might have 2 people, high as fuck, and they run it down. Or you may be trying to do your skills, but something in the game is preventing you from actually being able to complete it consistently. Right? To me, when I look at SMART goals, it's an overemphasis of these outcome-based goals or the achievement pieces. And why I think that's really, I wouldn't say bad, maybe dangerous, maybe tricky, is if and when we don't reach the specific outcomes that you set up, it feels really bad. You get discouraged, and then you throw your goal away. Anyone do that? Like you set this goal, or maybe this is you. You set that goal for like I'm going to go to the gym every day of the new year, or I'm going to go to the gym for 5 days, and then you didn't go yesterday. You're like, fuck it, I guess it's over now. That's to me what happens with SMART goals, right? One part of the goal doesn't happen, so poop, we throw the entire thing away. And here's the major thing: If targets are unrealistic, they again decrease your motivation. For example, if you set a goal that's too big and you create the SMART goal of all the pieces, but the goal is too big, you want the rank too fast, the rank is too high, you want a higher win percentage, you want a higher KDA, but you don't reach it just because not to your abilities, but just because you set this goal up wrong or incorrectly or more challenging than it's supposed to, then again you stop your goal, you think you're terrible, you beat yourself up, and now you're bad, right? So to me, if you really want to make smarter goals, simplify this baby. And all you need to ask yourself are three questions. All right. What's the point? What's the plan? And what's the purpose? Okay. If you ask yourself these three guiding questions, and I'll break them down, they're much more easier goals to create from it. And I believe the longevity of this goal is also more strong than a simple SMART goal. So let's expand on this. All right. So what's the point? Oh, don't look at this. I have to edit those dots out. What's the point? So, what's a specific outcome you really want to achieve? For example, what is the thing that you want? Oh, you want a higher rank? If so, which rank? You want to win more games? If so, how many games? You want to have a higher KDA? What's that percentage? Okay. When do you want to achieve it by? Okay. Do you want to achieve it in a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a season, whatever? Let's be specific in setting this goal up. This is the most important thing. And yes, these are 3 steps from the SMART goal, but I'm breaking down piece by piece. So in this one, how realistic is this achievement at your level? What I mean by that is like, okay, if you're bronze and you say you want to be the highest level, but you still have to go to silver, gold, diamond, emerald, whatever, maybe that goal is way too big and we have to shorten it to maybe the next rank. Okay, if you want to achieve that in 3 days, okay, let's lengthen it a little bit. Or if you're not achieving it in that time you want, how can we make it longer to make it more achievable? The whole entire purpose and the point of this is to make sure that you're able to have small little dopamine hits when you're seeing that you're able to improve, you're able to achieve your goal or make small little steps. So I'm not saying that you becoming pro is not a good goal. I'm saying, what are the smaller pieces that need to come first to help you actually get there, to help your motivation and your consistency and your discipline to get there? So, here's some examples of what it could be the point. For example, if you want to increase your rank, increase my CS2 competitive rank by 1 tier within 6 weeks. Okay. Now it's not 3 tiers or whatever, it's a singular tier in a longer span of time. All right. This is reminding me of a study. And just for all of you, just a question. All right. If you were like, dang, I read 5 pages. All right. But you know what? Tonight's going to be different, right? Tonight's going to be different. What is your new goal? Your first goal is to read 5 pages, read 1 page. Are you the type of person? Are you?
Ryan, you froze for a sec. We can't hear you right now.
Oh,
I can see you moving again though, so that's a good sign.
okay. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Sure.
I can
Check.
hear you.
Can you hear me? Oh, oh, oh.
Still
We
no
good
luck
now.
on the audio. Oh wait, maybe it's just me then.
I think it's just you, Julian.
Can you hear me?
You guys hear Ryan?
Yeah.
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 Okay. All right. So I'll go back a little bit. All right. Say you have a homework assignment and you're supposed to read 5 pages, but you failed. You only read 1 page, and you're like, tonight's gonna be different. Are you person A who says, you know what, tonight's gonna be different? I'm gonna read 10 pages. Okay. Or are you type B person or say, you know what? I wasn't able to read 5 last night. I read 1. I'm gonna read 3 pages tonight to complete my goal. Are you A, double your goal even though you failed, 5 to 10, or are you B, go 5 to 3? B for sure. B for sure. Wow. C, wait another 2 weeks and read all in one night. Lol. C, I'll do it tomorrow. Lol. That's the. Okay, I can tell who the real gamers are in this room. I can also probably guess your rank if you use that logic. C, I say A, then my ADHD says 5 is good enough. Whoa. Lols. These are just jokes. These are just jokes. Well, in this study, they actually found I myself am a type A person and I fail all the time. And according to research, you're more likely to fail if you're that type of person too. If this actual study, the person that said doubled it, they're also more likely to fail versus the person that said halving it. All right. The reason I am bringing up this study or this story is to link it back to these noticing how realistic the time and the bigness, the size of the goal is, right? Double it and give it to the next person. That's a good one, lol. All right, so for example, another performance-based outcome goal, or the point, would be maintain a 1.1 plus a positive KDA ratio across my next 25 ranked matches. Okay, again, very specific on the goal, the outcome KDA, and how many matches, 25. And here's, for my tilters, a mental focus outcome goal. Finished ranked sessions without tilt queuing for 30 days. I knew when I wrote 30 days, like that's a really long time. I put 7. I was like, that's kind of short, you know. But hey, that number can be changed depending on again where your current level is of tilting and tilt queuing, right? So making sure they're a little more attainable for you or specific. So that's the point. Okay. Next, what's the plan? All right. What is the process you're going to take to actually achieve your goals? What areas of the game would you like to improve to achieve your goals? So, for example, is it aiming? Is it your mental? Is it your practice? Is it your training? Is it your VOD review? Speaking of VOD review, how are you going to review your progress? Which is really, really important because when I talk to a lot of players, they say, "Oh, I feel like I'm improving," or "I feel like I'm getting bad." And I ask them, "Okay, what is your proof?" And they say, "I'm deranking," or "I'm ranking up," like whatever. Okay, what other things are you doing to get the outcome that you're achieving? And they go, I don't know. I'm just playing a bunch of games." Then I ask them, "How often do you review your VOD?" And they go, "Never." Eh. So when you set up these goals, something that's also really, really important is to have these mechanisms to make sure that we're reviewing or actually understanding are we or how we are not achieving our metric of success. So what is your review process? And then how is your progress measured? Is it KDA? Is it going to be kills? Is it deaths? Is it going to be wins? Is it going to be how many times you tilted? What measurable behavior are you looking at? And then lastly, how long are you willing to spend working towards this goal? Okay, so in the previous part, I'm going to work 1 season. I'm going to work a week. I'm going to do it for 10 days. I'm going to do it for 25 matches because after we have this set of data, now we have stuff to process. Now we can make new hypotheses. We can draw new conclusions and make a new experiment, aka a new goal. So here's some some process focused goals based on rank for CS2. Okay, so if the goal was I'm going to increase my CS2 competitive rank by 1 tier within 6 weeks, here are some process focused goals. And notice how there are more process focused goals than outcome focused goals. Why? There are different types of things that you can do to make sure that you get closer to that actual outcome you want. So, for example, for every before every ranked session, I'll stretch 10 minutes before each ranked match. I will play 3 games and then I'm going to take a break. And then I'll watch one VOD to every 3 games I play. And by doing this process, oh, okay, got you. By doing this process, I'm more likely to actually hit my rank. All right. So if you wanted to translate this to Valorant, just change the name. It's the same thing, right? Small goals add up to big goals. Absolutely. All right. So there's another one. Okay, here's a performance-based outcome. So for example, I'll take this from my other one. Okay, I want to maintain a 1.1 positive KD ratio across my next 25 ranked matches. Okay. Before every round, I will focus on my crosshair placement at head level. So that's even before the game. Maybe I'm going to find some nice lineups, or maybe there's some nice boxes that's head level, and that's where I'm going to start and try to keep my crosshair. I'm going to prioritize bursting or tapping instead of spraying. So that's going to be a conscious effort each game. I'm just going to tap, tap a couple times versus like, right? Or notice how I'm not practicing spray transfer. It's just bursting or tapping. And lastly, I'm a trade able positions instead of solo pushing. So I'm never going to be by myself unless you're a duelist. Unless you're my duelist. Nah, but this example, hey, even with a duelist, maybe I want to go with utility. Maybe I want to go with another player. Maybe I'm even going to use comms and say like, hey, you're up behind me, so I'm not by myself, right? So these are the things that you can do that process focus to make sure that you're able to get this KDA. Okay. And lastly, here's your mental focus outcome. So I want to finish ranked sessions without tilt queuing for 30 days. Okay, before every ranked game, I'm going to take a break, a 10-minute break before starting my next match. So I'm going to play, get up, take a break. You know what? I'm going to go for a walk if I lose 2 games in a row. So in addition to this, if I lose 2 games in a row, it's time for me to take a walk, time to take a break. And lastly, I'm going to ask myself, what's the next play in game when I get tilted? So I put in 2 fail safes for pre-game or pre and post game, and I put in 1 for in game when I do get tilted. And from this, my goal is to not tilt. All right. I think people overfocus on the point and the plan. And in my experience, why people's goals fall off really fast is because they forget the purpose. When I say the purpose, it's the why. What? Why do you want to achieve this goal? Kind of relates back up to the picture you drew. Where's this goal going to take you? How would your life be different by achieving this goals? What values of yourself are driving the goals? Is the value discipline? Is the value competition? Is the value improvement? Is the value confidence? Like, what is the value that your goal attaches to? Next, I don't want you to think about just the goal being the destination. Gaming, the thing that you're doing, I don't want you to imagine it as just something that you're doing mindlessly or whatever. I want you to think about gaming as a vehicle that's going to take you somewhere. Is it going to take you to learning skills? Is it going to take you to a job? Is it going to take you to relationships? Is it going to take you to more confidence in yourself? I have no idea. But your goal in this game is not just the destination. It's a milestone on the journey to getting there. So where is there for you? And lastly, what would reaching your goal fulfill in your life? How would it be different? How would it be better? Because if you can remember these things, it's going to help a lot when it feels bad, man. When you're losing all your games, when you're not improving the way that you want to as fast as you want to. Maybe that troll says that one thing that really gets to you about your improvement or you as a player, and you start beating yourself up. That's where goals get lost. You can fix your purpose. I mean, you can fix a plan. We can tinker with that. That's really easy. We can even fix the point. That's really easy. But if you don't have the purpose, this is the biggest cause of burnout or dropping your goals and why it feels so bad because you lost the plot. So, for example, real life example, the gym. All right, I said I was going to go to the gym because, hey, last year I wasn't able to do it. And I really want to prove to myself that I can. If I stopped going yesterday because I didn't go, or stopped going today because I didn't go yesterday, that value of that thing wasn't as important. Maybe if it's like, okay, I want to go because I want to look good. All right, say you achieve that. You look good. You got a 6-pack. You're ripped. Now what? You stop going. Why? You achieved your goal. What would be better? I want to be healthy. Why? Because I really value being able to live life pain-free or whatever. Okay, that's probably a bigger motivational thing for you. You have a bigger purpose, you have a bigger why of going to the gym, right? Or a lot of people say, I really want to go pro. Okay, what would pro do for you? It would change my life. How? I would be able to do the things that I want to do. Like, well, you have more money? Yes. Okay, so you're doing it for money. Or, hey, then people would recognize that my skill in this game is amazing and I'd get accolades. So you're doing it for recognition. Yeah, okay. So the question then happens, what happens when you achieve those things? What's the next thing? And that's why different people's careers change over time. Or your value of the game changes over time. All these things that we're talking about are value based, right? Your goals are value based, and if those values change, sometimes your goals change too. And hey, listen, just because you set the goal and you didn't want to do it or you didn't end up doing it doesn't mean that that wasn't valuable to you. That's not what I'm saying. Just more valuable things came up for you. For example, hey, even though I really want to go to the gym, what was more valuable for me was playing with the boys because relationship was more important than fitness that day, you know? Or, hey, uh, maybe I tilt queued and played that extra game and didn't sleep because maybe that satisfaction and proving to myself that I'm a good player was more valuable than getting another hour of sleep, right? I'm not here to say or shame you over your values. This is not a guilt and shame discussion. All it is though is saying that you just have other values that are more important than the things that you thought were valuable. The big topic area there would be your sleep schedule. There's a lot more things than people have in their lives than sleep. Thus, sleep is not a priority. All right, so here's some purpose examples, okay? So some things reaching a higher rank could mean for you. It could be a challenge value or challenge base. I have better competition and harder problems for me to solve at higher levels. It could be a discipline value or discipline based. I am able to manage my thoughts, emotions, and actions in and out of game. So if I can do this in game, I can do these things outside of game too. It could be a social based value thing. My teammates will respect me and what I bring to the team and maybe trust my calls if I reach this goal, right? So all I'm saying is, yes, it's important to understand why you want to make these changes and how these changes relate to yourself, your goals, and your values to make sure that they persist over time. All right. So a quick recap, and then we can run through some of your goals if you want to. We can do some AMA style stuff. But I just want to want you to remember the point. What's the point? It's a specific outcome that you want to achieve. Okay. When do you want to achieve it by? Be very specific in it. And then from there, we can tinker. Okay. What's the plan? The plan is the process you want to take to achieve that specific outcomes. It's the steps, it's the specific process, it's the thing that you're doing, the actions. And how will you measure your progress towards success? How are you reviewing? How do you know you're getting closer? What are those metrics of success for you? And lastly, what's the purpose? What's the deeper internal value? Does your goal link to that yourself that would change your life, or why you really want to do this goal for yourself or for other people or whoever? Okay? So please remember what you want dictates how you pursue it. Okay. So it's not like depending on what you want, like your goal, that's going to dictate the process. Don't get them twisted. Okay. Why you want it dictates how long you do it for. Okay. So we're talking longevity, we're talking consistency, we're talking discipline. That comes from the purpose. The reasons why I want to put this here is because when goals go wrong, when goals drop off, this is where people get it mixed up. They think, oh, I dropped off because like I didn't want it enough. No, no, no. The purpose is wrong. Or like, oh, I didn't get it because like the goal was too big, maybe. But also, how's the process and the way that you're trying to achieve it was that also congruent to what you want to do? So make sure that these things are lined up for you, not twisted. And if they do get twisted, you'll get tilted about why you're not achieving your goal. So then you can go back to fix which piece is it? Is it the point? Is it process? Or is it the purpose? All right. So that's me. And that's my talk. If you want, you can take a picture of this and it'll pop you to all my links. But if not, I also put them inside of the chat if you want to follow me there. You'll always get information or fun stuff or fun zany thoughts or content coming your way. But I just wanted to put together a small presentation for you about goals, goal setting, and a little bit about why your goals go wrong. Remember, this is not a guilt and shame discussion. This is one just to make sure that you can set better goals as a gamer, make them more relevant to you, break them down, and never forget the purpose and what you're doing and why you're doing it, who you're doing it for. All right? Sick. All right. So we got.
And you're amazing.
Um, we can do whatever you guys want.
I had a small question actually, which I'm going to sneak in here because I'm already on stage and no one else has said a question yet in chat. So, real quick, first off, amazing. Thank you. Second, how can you make something that is unpleasant more habitual or consistent in your life? Like, for example, in my world, a lot of times people say, I don't like the taste of water, or like in the fitness world, people say, hey, I don't like to exercise, but objectively, it's what you need. Or like in the game world, hey, I need to aim train, but like maybe you find that boring. Like, how do you make something that is somewhat necessary for you to get your goals that is unpleasant to be part of your habit? Any
Mm,
tips there?
That's funny. If you don't like the taste of water, I saw this TikTok and it's probably because you don't brush your teeth. So personal hygiene first and foremost. That's a great question, though. The question is, how do you make something unpleasant, or you find unpleasant, more bearable, or so you can or more bearable so you can do it more consistently? That's a great question.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, for That's a really rough question, bro. I mean, I think a really interesting thing for that I work with teams on in general is I ask them to define a couple of different words. The first word is work. The next word is effort. Okay. And the reason why I ask people to define these terms is they mean different things to different people. For example, you, Casey, your form of work, like you could play games all day, you know, but your form of work is watching VODs because that's like AIDS to you, right? Like it's so tedious, it's so hard to go watch the VOD. And for me, listen, I can nerd out on VODs all day, but work for me is solo queue because dealing with those trolls and like those people telling me mean things is such a like burners in my mental, right? So I think first and foremost, it's for you, or for people, is writing down what's work for them, and then what makes it work. And then from there, the thing I'm wondering is, all right, how could you find this? Is there any joy in this? What is the benefits of this? Are there any points that you find fun or could learn from this? And typically they say no. But I think what's really, really interesting is when they actually sit down and are able to do it and are able to see that they're getting benefits from it, then they're able to do that behavior more. So I think that comes down to a process thing where it's like, okay, I'm gonna do this thing. And then because it's part of your process, you're gonna find that it's gonna affect the outcome probably more positive. And then when you see that link together, you're like, okay, it's worth it. Because I think another thing that's really, really interesting that we've discussed in the past too, Casey, is the uh, paradigm between pain and change, right? And listen, if that's not something you really want to change right now, I think the hard part is making yourself do it. But from a different perspective, it's going to definitely uh, become more apparent where it's like, all right, you've done all the things that you could do. This is the one thing that you're going to do or could do next to get to your next level. Do you want to do it or not? You don't have to. You do not have to. But if you want to improve, it's going to be up to you to be like, all right, I don't like it. I'm going to do it. All right, there's benefits. All right, I like it, you know? So I think that's one part of the thing that's really hard is changing your mindset about things that you don't want to do, but really finding the things that you do like about it or seeing how it does benefit you, and then you're more likely to do it, in my opinion.
Thank you. And I
Sorry,
do
that was
see
really
you got.
roundabout answer. That's really hard, especially if ADHD. Like, especially it's really hard for me too to like force myself to do things. So it's almost like as if like you have to trick yourself, like, oh, this is helping me. I want to do this, and then you're more likely to do it.
Right, right, right. No, yeah, that actually is kind of helpful, and it's something that I think a lot of people in my line struggle with. So I'm gonna be stealing some of those tips.
Uh,
Let you take the audience questions though, because I didn't want to detract from that. I just wanted to get it
yeah,
in
yeah. All
quick.
right. All right, I got. Can you speak a little after you set your goal, how to actually start progressing on that goal? Yeah, okay. My suggestion, first and foremost, if you use these techniques, right? If you use these smarter goals, the first thing to do, I'd write them all down. This is the point, and this is my plan, and this is my purpose. I'd write all that shit down, and then what I'd do is you have an actual like process, like you've written out the roadmap. Just do it. Right? So I would start with the process focused goals, right? The plan. I'd start doing the plan. And because I've used numbers, because I was very specific in the things I want to do, and for a specific time that I want to run that experiment for, then I'll just run it as I wrote it, and then see how I did. And then if it got closer to the outcome, great, I'm doing better. But if it's not, okay, now I'm gonna fix my process or look at the outcome to see if how realistic it was if I got stuck. So now you're doing that comparison and the critical thinking piece, and I'd use your VOD review to kind of do that thing too, or however you defined your metric of success to make sure that you're going the right direction. Random says, how would I teach myself discipline within the game? I've never really pushed discipline within the game as opposed to IRL. What do you mean opposed to IRL? Okay, okay. I used to be a mindfulness hater. I used to be like, oh, okay, mindfulness, yeah, just breathing, blah, blah, blah. And then I did it. And I hate to say, this is one of the things, Casey, like, the things that you didn't like doing. My work was mindfulness and sitting down with my own brain and trying to think about nothing. I used to think that was poo poo, stupid, but then I did it for like 100 days, and that shit works, bro. Fuck, it sucks. It works. Like even for a minute, dude. Just like sit down for a minute and just like try to clear your mind. And if you do hear something, acknowledge that thought and let it go and refocus on your breath. That shit's so hard. But if you can practice mindfulness outside the game and control your brain, you can also try to do it in game. The thing that's really interesting about discipline too that you have to understand is that's a resource. And what I mean by that is like, as all resources, it has finite limits and it will run out. So if you find yourself being less disciplined in game, you're probably tired. Your cognitive resources is probably depleted. Time for you to take a break. But that's what I would say is if you can practice discipline by either guiding your mind outside through mindfulness. Another way you practice discipline is making sure that literally asking yourself, what am I going to do now? Or what's my next move? What's my next win condition? That's a way of practicing discipline. But if you're having problems with discipline, you're tired, take a break. Okay, do you think social circles have a big impact on goal setting, like progression on goals? Absolutely. Absolutely. Your social circles definitely influence the way that you create goals, you achieve your goals, the way that you attack your goals, the motivation for your goals. Absolutely. For example, if you have social circles that don't set any goals, or when people set goals, they shit on them, you're probably not going to achieve your goals. Or if you have social circles that believe in more fixed mindsets that, oh, you're just good or you're bad, you're probably not going to achieve your goals. So, yes, I think your friends and your social circle and your support systems, which hopefully are synonymous, definitely have a huge impact in the way that you think, the way that you act, and the way that you do in and out of game. 100%. Okay, in my opinion, if you ever have a space to think, say you get bombed down and then the enemy hasn't started their retake, you know that pushing them isn't usually the right play unless you call your teammates to do it. You generally know the right play. It's just that you have to consistently think about it. Yes, absolutely. Another thing that really helps with this and decision making plays or decision making in general would be VOD review. Okay. And when I say VOD review, I don't say like, ooh, I'm gonna clip this and then I want to post it because that's sick, or like, ooh, that was really bad. I don't want to watch that again. When I say VOD review, think of it objectively, okay? As you do VOD review, what you're looking for is you're looking for cues and then behaviors, because there's always a cue before behavior. For example, if you watch closely enough, you'll always notice, poop, there's a flash here. What happens after the flash? Where did they move? Whoop, flash is here. Then what happens? Or smoke is here. What does that mean? There's always typically an action that cues a behavior or set of behaviors. You just need to find it. Or even, what are your tells? Mine was playing Fade, always throwing the shade thing and then going in, right? So everyone knew later on, if they see a little prowler, I'm probably right behind it. Or my team's probably right behind the prowler, right? So when you do VOD review, yes, you're assessing your goal and how you're progressing. At the same time, what you're also looking for and how you actually learn the game is you're looking for specific cues that tell specific behaviors, then you can react to that thing. There's always a pattern. What's the pattern? That's what you're looking for. Uh, a good trick I use for dishes, which I struggle with, is just convincing myself to do dishes, and typically I end up doing them all. Yes, I like that. Or my trick is break one break one dish or a couple dishes, and they'll never ask you to do dishes again. But yes, that is a good technique, especially if you have ADHD, just starting things. For example, sometimes for some students, when I was working with them in college, would be like, go play a game of League before your homework, and like, why? I was like, if you play a game of League or Valorant, you're actually at your computer, you're probably more likely to start. True. Sometimes you get stuck in the hole, but sometimes they start doing their homework. So starting something typically makes you finish it or make you do more of it. And the whole like 5-minute rule, if it takes less than 5 minutes, start doing it, complete it, totally works too. How do you recommend tracking goal progress and writing stuff down? Great question. Um, it depends on your tracking system. You can do it like a workout if you want and have like a manual paper that you write things down on. You could use a spreadsheet if you're looking for specific numbers, or you could just use a Google Doc to just write and take notes for yourself. The main thing that is really important if you do this is that you play with it often. Like, all right, I always take my notes here, or like after every game I come back here and like I type in my data or take my notes, and then I always at the end of the day look at my progress, Because yes, it's great to track it and all that, but it means nothing if you don't look at it. So it depends on how you want to track it, how meticulously you track things, but it doesn't have to be super crazy. Literally writing it down on a piece of paper, Google Doc, sheet, however you want to keep track of it. Because the thing that you're tracking down and keeping track of, it's already written in your plan, right? There's a number, there is a metric of success you're trying to achieve. And then also, if you're trying to track something like how tilted you are, like intensity level, it's I don't know, how do you track that? What you do is you use like a Likert scale for yourself. One being like tilt it all, and tilt being like I want to smash my computer. Okay, now you're trying. That's the best way you can make something intangible tangible. Likert scales. For sure. Do you have? If you have a friend that goes to the gym with you, they'll help. Yep, they'll help keep you accountable. Absolutely. So, uh, listen, you could even do this goal setting for each other or with your friend. And then what's really cool about that is now we have an accountability buddy that we can talk to about the progress of our goals or keep us accountable for the things that we're doing, or check us on our goals and our goal progress. That's great. I completely agree. That's great. Use a friend. Dude, 101 day mindfulness challenge. Dude, shout out to Casey, by the way. He is doing a week fasting challenge that I said that was too crazy. So Godspeed, man. From your experience working with pros, what is the hardest challenge they had to overcome to stay on top? Not being a dick. I think when you're at the pro level, honestly, the hardest part is being a team. I think that's what people don't realize is that every game that you play is a team sport. So you could individually have the best skills, but if you're unable to communicate, if you're unable to be a teammate, if you're unable to jive and gel with the team, you're going to have a bad time. So I think at a certain point for pros, it is regulating their mind and keeping it moving forward. Um, Not getting stuck in what should have happened or that terrible play. I think it's being able to show themselves grace to move forward and forgive themselves for making mistakes. And then the third thing is, yeah, being a good teammate and knowing how to communicate and express their feelings and their thoughts to other people in a way that isn't dick like, I think. But then the thing that pros say is like, well, they're a pro, they should know, right? And that's a whole different conversation. But I think it's being a team. Okay, how would I go about VOD reviewing and what exactly to look for? Um, Like, should I have a mindset going into VOD like I want to look for these things I may see as a mistake, or should I look at it a third person viewed in a and criticize that way? That's a good question. It depends. And what I mean is it depends on what you are looking for. So for example, when you go into the VOD review, I think what's really, really important is that you have in your mind already a plan of what you're looking for. Are you looking for um, your mistakes in game? Are you looking for the way that you were trying to complete a specific goal? Were you looking for why plays went right or wrong? Were you looking for specific cues in the plays? Depending on what you are looking for is going to dictate how you use the VOD, right? For example, if you're listening to communication, all right, you're going to look for specific points in the game that you thought communication was good or bad, right? Or if you're looking for your positioning, you're going to look for where your positioning was good or bad versus like the entire game. So you can actually be super specific in the things that you're looking for in each game. So you don't have to watch the entire game, but instead now you have a very targeted thing that you are looking and reviewing to pick out. Because if not, then you're reviewing all your games versus, hey, I just want to look at these entries of all these rounds, or hey, I just want to look at all these post plants in these rounds. And now you're being very specific, right? Um, But yeah, I think if you can look at it in a third person perspective and be more graceful to yourself or be less, oh my God, don't look, and that cringe factor, if you can do that, I think it's super helpful. In your opinion, what is one of the best ways that you can overcome that feeling of personal stagnation? I've had really harsh slumps in the past where it's really hard to break out of them. So, even if I was really motivated to do so. All right, define slump for me or stagnation. And then the thing that I would do is make your goal smaller, right? Like make your goal smaller. So instead of like, okay, I just want like I'm stagnating, I should be improving. Maybe you're stagnating. The goal is to get back to baseline or win your next game or these small little things that you can like pull yourself up to or like make sure your motivation is good. Because if not, you're just gonna keep lower and lower and lower and lower and lower. So smaller goals, go slower, and then maybe the goal is to get to back to baseline, not improving. How do you balance? How do you find balance and not become overconsumed by goals, i.e., wanting to go pro and neglecting other things in your life? That's a good question. I think the thing that is going to be really important is if you do want to go pro, there's going to be other things that you're going to need to do so you can go pro. So those other things that you're neglecting in life, those are also things that are going to. Those are not things that are competing with your goal to go pro. Those are things that are helping you to go pro. The reason I'm saying that is because once you do go pro, you also have to do life too. Like you have to still balance the things that you need to do. You still have to have a really good sleep schedule. You still have to eat. You still have to exercise. You still have to maintain relationships. You still have to study. It's not just playing. You have to do people management. So all the things that you're doing in life go with that balancing to go pro. So that's how they're not superseding, they're not competing, they're one and the same for your quality of life to go pro. I have a follow up to the expression of emotions that you went through as well. Do you think that someone who is neurodivergent, AUDHD, specifically who has problems with overall communication at some point, can reach the top level of game? Yeah, dude, we're talking about skills. This is not a the things that we went over or emotion regulation. This is not something that you have or do not have. These are all skills. And especially if you say that you're neurodivergent and you have AUDHD, that also means to me that because you are cognizant of your diagnosis, you're also cognizant of the different types of skills that you might need to do specifically to make sure that you can reach the level that you want to. Just because you have this doesn't mean that you can't play the game. You're now just playing a different game. As someone with ADHD, I may not completely understand what your experience is like, but from my experience, since I know that I have ADHD, there are things that I need to do to make sure that I have the correct coping strategies that compensate for the things that I do. So I may be more impulsive. So what are the things that I need to do to make sure that I can be aware of my impulsions and what I want to do and not do those things? I know that I, have these other like uh other habits or things that I do because of my diagnosis. So what are the things that I need to do that nobody else is responsible for and nobody else needs to do, but I need to do that if I want to go pro. So all these things are just skills that I need to learn to do things differently. And it's not a character flaw. It may be more challenging or different from me, but that's just my game I need to play, not no anyone else's. So what is the game that you need to play? What are the skills that you need to work on? And then how can we improve those skills to get you to your highest level? Uh, it could be as breaking down the goal and making a roadmap. Yep, there you go. Yep, totally agree. Stagnation is basically noticing that there is no longer improvement, some bad habits resurfacing, and so forth. Okay. So for this, the thing that I'm thinking about is, all right, what are you looking for? Are you looking for more points of stagnation? Are you looking for more points of your sense of badness? Are you looking at um, finding your bad habits? Because I'm wondering if this is also a perceptual issue where that you're looking for these things and you're finding them. The things that I'm wondering is like, all right, if you're going to change your perception to start finding your points of improvement, how would that change your progress? How would that change your actions or behaviors so you can actually achieve those things? And the other option is, all right, you're totally not doing it and you're totally stagnating. You're falling into bad habits. Okay, what is the first habit you want to work on to make sure that you are able to progress again? So now we'll go back down to the process. What process you want to make sure that you're doing to get the results that you want. All right, on a more personal level, but when did you figure out this information and how did you structure it for yourself to achieve the goal that you wanted? I mean, I think that we were taught goals as kids or how to set goals, and like goals are great. And then I think we're introduced to like smart goals. I think smart goals are huge. I think back in the day, soldiers like, oh yeah, just make smaller goals and achieve them and stuff like that. But for me, when I figured out these things, the point, the plan, and the purpose, to me, it was when people started falling off of their goals and just thinking about like what broke down, where they broke down, why they broke down. And then to me, I just took the SMART goal model and I just made it more compatible to gamers by making it smaller with an actual objective and then things they're going to do for the objective versus having them all at once. Because I think when gamers see all one big text, you get lost. So, okay, what's the bullet point? What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? And how are you gonna track it? And how are you gonna review it? That's the way I was thinking about it. Yeah. But really, this structure of goal setting, listen, this I just proposed this one for you, right? But when you go and actually do your goals and try to chase them, like you could do it differently. But I'm just thinking about the different pieces and components that might be useful, just bare bones it or the essence of it to be useful for you. And hey, if it doesn't work or whatever, yo, you got me now on Discord or whatever, and you can all send me a message and we can figure out how to make better goals for you. All right. Thought about it more critically as opposed to being a jumble. Yeah, I mean, just think of it. All the things that we're doing here is we're just being more intentional in the ways that you're doing things, or how can I increase your awareness in game so you can actually make conscious decisions about what you want to do and what you want to not to do in game, right? Because if you really think about gaming, it's all learning, it's all skills. There's no, it is the great equalizer. So how can you be more of a critical thinker to better regulate yourself to achieve the things you want to achieve? And if you can do that in game, why couldn't you do that everywhere else, baby? All right, friends. Apologies. I have to pop to this other meeting. Thank you so much for allowing me to come in to talk to you all about goals and goal setting. Thank you for allowing me to be part of this Performance Academy. Thank you, Julian, and thank you, Casey, for hosting me. I appreciate you guys. And if there's anything that you guys need from me, send me a message. If you want to follow on content, go for it. I'd really appreciate it. But hopefully, we'll talk soon.